Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. It's 2026. What do you think of that? I am your host, Tim Koger. This is a podcast named It's New Every Morning because God's blessings, grace is new every morning. And so we'll get started here in a minute. I got a few interesting stories. A lot of them are geared around the beginning of the year because it is the beginning of the year, 2026. Who would have thunk it? I'll tell you what, I'm excited about this year. So let me bring the music down a little bit and talk to you without it. Good morning, everyone. If you are here, a morning warrior with me at 7:30 a.m., that's great. Good morning. I love seeing that. Let me hear from you if you're actually on here at 7:30 in the morning. I know everybody isn't always on here at 7:30 in the morning, but certainly I hope you are. I'm looking forward to talking to you today. Hopefully I'm on the right channel. I didn't make that mistake last week or a week before last one time, because I do have a few different Facebook pages, and of course I do this on my regular Facebook page. Hope you're having a good morning. I'm looking outside. I'm seeing it's kind of dreary looking, snow all over the ground. Stayed pretty cool in the last few days, and I think it's supposed to be cold the next few days. So we'll probably have snow on the ground for a while, which is actually good for the ground. I like it when we keep a snow on. It seems to cut down on insects in the summertime. They say it does. Some people say it does. Some people say it doesn't. I don't know the scientific aspect of that, but it seems to me as when we have a snow on like we did last year for a long period of time that it seemed like it stayed down. So anyway, I have some good stories, but before I get started, I want to say that this is a podcast 49, which means Monday it'll be podcast 50. Some changes are probably coming on podcast 50. I promised myself when I started I would do 50 of these, which seemed like a lot. It seems to have gone by pretty fast. I can't believe I'm already at 50, but I'm trying to decide if I'm going to continue to do this Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. You know, I started out Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. I moved to 7:30 because it seemed to fit some people's schedule better. I hope, I'm able to be found this morning on here. I've not had anybody say anything to me this morning, like good morning or anything. And that always worries me that maybe I'm on the wrong channel. So if you're out there and you're listening, say good morning. I'm not sure what we're going to do starting Monday and beyond. If I have enough, I have a goal that I'm trying to hit by Monday, by 50 episodes. If I don't hit that, I'm probably going to change some things. So if you like this, if you want it to continue, please love it, share it, so that more people will get in here and I can hit my goals. So anyway, with that said, I still don't have anybody on here. So I'm hoping that I am on the right channel. Aha! Good morning, Sue. I am on the right channel, I'm guessing. All right. That's very good. I was starting to wonder because nobody was coming on here. Of course, there may be a lot of people that don't think I'm going to do this today since it's like, almost a holiday. But nice to have you along, Sue. And we'll get started on some of my stories. The first thing I actually have is a quote by Aaron Ralston. And the quote is this: saying farewell is also a bold and powerful beginning. So when you're saying farewell to 2025, we now have a bold beginning of 2026. And we're kicking off, this is going to be an interesting year. We're kicking off America's 250th birthday this week. And not only is it going to be this week, but I'm sure there's going to be celebrations all this year. I know that they're going to, if I understood correctly, they're planning on dropping the ball in Times Square like they did at New Year's Eve on July 3rd to celebrate the 4th of July. And I mean, the 250 years we've made it. And, I'm old enough to remember the 200th anniversary of this country. So that's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that was pretty neat. 200 years back then, but now we're at 250, and once you have a new year. Another thing that always comes along is there's new laws that take effect. So some of them took effect January 1st. I just have a few here that I thought were interesting. Good morning, Tom. Nice to have you along. Minimum wage went up in 19 states starting January 1st. And I think the minimum wage, the federal law is like $7.50, but that's been that way for years, and the states are way outgrowing that. Most states are somewhere between $10 and $15, somewhere in that area. However, Washington became the first state to exceed $17 an hour minimum wage. And of course, I don't know what it's like at a lot of places, but I don't think there's hardly anybody that starts people at the federal minimum wage. I mean, people aren't going to work for $7.50. I mean, $17.50, yes, but $7.50? No. I don't know anybody in that neighborhood. Now, if there's somebody out there hiring people at $7.50, let me know. But everybody's over $10 an hour that I know starting jobs. I mean, $11 an hour, $12 an hour, in that range, I think, for most cases. But the official minimum wage in Washington is now over $17. Now, there's some other things going on. There are some restrictions on buying like soda and candy with SNAP benefits that are starting. They're starting now. Some of them are January 1st, but throughout the year, some of them are starting like July 1st and September 1st, and different times of the year they're happening. But I think there's 18 states that are sometime this year are limiting SNAP benefits spent on things that they were never designed to spend on. Because I did a story segment on SNAP benefits, and it was designed for nutritional food. Soda pop doesn't qualify as nutritional food. So it was never intended to be a part of it, and finally, there's a lot of people angry about it, but they'll be all right. Another thing that's happened at the beginning of the year is there are Utah's doing something kind of interesting. There is a no alcohol sale mark on Utah driver's license starting today. And they're putting it down there for people that have been caught drunk driving. So if you're a drunk driver in Utah, you now have a no alcohol sale sign on your license. So when you go in to buy it, of course, I know people will work around that, but apparently they won't sell it to you in Utah. Here's an interesting, of course, new year, new taxes. There is now a tourism tax in Hawaii that's being added. So it was already most expensive enough to go to Hawaii. Well, now it just got a little bit pricier, okay? Because they're calling it it's a fund to fund natural disaster prevention. What exactly that is, I'm not sure how they're preventing national disasters. I'm not sure what they're doing with that money, but it looks like Hawaii has found a way to tax us, because it's a tourism tax, which means it's not paid by the people that live there, just by people that don't. And I'm guessing most of the people listening to this don't live in Hawaii. If you do, please raise your hand. That would be great. Okay, so there's an end of an era that started, when I was young, and that is MTV. MTV is shutting down their music-only channels, all of them. They shut them down, actually, December 31st. And, it's amazing. I couldn't believe how long, it doesn't surprise me, I guess, but the 24-hour broadcasting music channels are all gone. Now, MTV started, you ready for this, in the United States on August 1st, 1981. 1981. And I know some people that are on here watching remember 1981. Maybe some remember it better than others, but 1981. The first video that was aired, which I remember this song, believe it or not, I'm not sure why, was Video Killed the Radio Star. Video Killed the Radio Star. Isn't that ironic that that is the first, I mean, it probably wasn't ironic. It was probably on purpose. That's by the Buggles, I think. Anyway, so, I mean, think about that. Video killed the radio star. They were saying that good morning, Donna. We being MTV, are gonna kill the radio star. Of course, that didn't happen. Radio is still very popular for music. Not as popular as it once was because there's so many different avenues of where you can get your music. But anyway, the final clip that they played on MTV Music on December 31st of this year, or last year, was the same song. The first song that they played in 1981 was the last song they played in 2025. So that was a pretty interesting thing. Now, there's still MTV channels, just not the 24-hour music video channels. Now, Isaac Newton's third law of motion states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite action. And I will say things like that a lot, and I don't put all that in. I usually say for every action, there's a reaction. Here's an example of of that third law of motion. Florida legislators are proposing a bill that would send paper straws to the shredder. Yep. Bills that have been introduced in both our House and Senate to consider that would ban straws at restaurants and other establishments that sell food, according to Fox News. That's what they said. These are paper straws, right? Now, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? I mean, drinking straws in stores are supposed to be a better option for health and for the environment. Why would they do that? Well, for every action trying to make things better, there is a reaction. Independent university studies have shown that most paper straws contain a harmful PFAS. No idea what that is, but that's a chemical. And apparently being exposed to that is linked to several health concerns. So these nice, environmentally friendly, healthy paper straws are not as healthy as you thought. So anyway, it's kind of, like I said, the reaction is a reaction. So I just thought that story was kind of neat because I don't know if you've used paper straws. I'm saying most people have used them at least once or twice somewhere along the way. I'm not a big fan, personally, of using them. I understand the concept, and I understand let's get rid of a lot of straws that we use. But apparently, by trying to get rid of straws, they've made the situation worse, in my opinion. So, next. New research says that people who talk with their hands seem more clear and persuasive. People that talk with their hands. I know you can't see my hands on here when I'm talking, but frequently when I talk, my hands move. I was teaching our youth at our church last Sunday, and I was talking some with my hands, and they were kind of making fun of me. They were kind of referenced some of the things that I was doing with my hands. So I do talk with my hands sometimes. Now, do those gestures actually make communication more effective, or does it just seem like that? Well, the short answer is yes. But the gestures that you use that represent, the idea you're talking about, those things are the things that make it more effective. This doesn't really probably make much more effective on your persuasion or make what you're saying clear. So a lot of my gestures probably would not fit the definition of making what I'm saying clearer. But I don't talk with my hands as much as some people. Yeah, Debbie. I do talk with my hands a lot. But I guess last Sunday night in that class, those kids are sharp. They pick up on things, and I guess I was doing it more than I realized because they started gesturing for me too. And I hope some of those kids hear this, and I brought them onto my podcast. So I got one more story. What makes life good? What makes life good? Now, everybody's got their own opinions, but this guy, Robert Waldinger, compiled 85 years of research into thousands and thousands of lives to come up with what makes life good. One lesson stood out. Relationships matter more than money or accolades. Relationships. That's the thing that stood out that makes a good life. Your relationships. So how strong are your relationships going into 2026? Do you have strong relationships? Do you have weak relationships? Do you need more relationships? I mean, I think that, this study, 85 years of research that he's compiled from different research places. And the bottom line is the one thing that stood out in all this was that relationships are more important to people than money. Now, some people think money is more important, accolades, things like that. But really the relationships is what came out. And I believe that to be true. And your relationships with your family, your relationships with your friends, your relationship, good morning, Deborah, your relationships with your creator. There's a lot of relationship aspects, and I do think they're the most important thing. And I do think they are the things that not only are important, but they make you to have what you feel is a good life. Makes you content with life, makes you excited about getting up in the morning. It makes you cry. Your relationships do those things. Nothing else in the world really much does that. Now, I'm not saying you couldn't cry if you get a bunch of money. If you win the lottery, you might cry. I don't know. I don't play the lottery, so I would not know that. But relationships are what do that. Relationships. And so I would suggest to you this year, in 2026, that you look at your relationships and how important they are to you, and grow your relationships. Let people know they're important to you. Your family relationships. If you have a family relationship that's strained right now, fix it. Fix that relationship. In 2026, get that thing right, because you'll be so happy that you did. And if you have a friendship problem, a situation, that relationship's not good, and I realize that some people, are close friends for a season. I know that I have people in my life that I was really close to at one point in my life that I really don't talk too much anymore. I don't have a bad relationship with them. It's just that for one reason or another, we've drifted in different directions. And that's okay. That's all right. But you can reacquaint with those people. But the relationships that are in your life, all the time, make them strong. Make them strong, because strong relationships in the end will make a good life. That's what I believe. So anyway, I will be back Monday morning. It will be podcast number 50. It will be a special podcast. If you like this and you want it to continue every day, Monday through Friday, you need to love it, share it, because I have a goal to meet. I'm not telling you what that goal is. I have not met it yet. And we will be making some changes on Monday if I don't reach that goal. So I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to go away. I just may cut down how many days a week I do this, because it is a lot of work to put this together, and I want it to continue. If people want it to continue. All right. So listen, with that, it looks a little snowy out there. I'm going to be going out in that today. You guys have a blessed day. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy the beginning of 2026, and I will see you Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. Bye-bye.